Whether you're a fan of third-person shooters with RPG elements or just love the original Remnant from the Ashes from 2019, Remnant 2 promises an even more action-packed, monster-killing, dimension-spanning thrill ride. So what does this latest offering from Gunfire Games and Gearbox Publishing have to offer fans? And is there anything that makes Remnant 2 particularly different or special? To help you out, here's everything you need to know about Remnant 2. Here we go. So perhaps the easiest way to understand Remnant 2 is to think of it as Dark Souls with guns. In other words, if you're looking for a game that you're going to be able to play casually and run through in a couple of hours, Remnant 2 simply isn't it. Set 2 decades after Remnant from the Ashes, the citizens of Ward 13 have built a sanctuary within the growing chaos that surrounds them. While they were able to buy some time in their war against the Root, an otherworldly race of evil tree-like monsters, the reality is that their hardships are far from over. Remnant 2 takes place across a number of different worlds that players will be able to travel to via the Labyrinth, an infinite dimension that is undergoing some kind of catastrophic collapse, leading to the manifestation of various aberrations across the many worlds it connects to. In terms of actual worlds you'll be able to visit, locations that are known so far include Yaesha, Losamn, and Nerud. Yaesha is one world that also appears in Remnant from the Ashes, and is home to the Pan, a race of bipedal creatures that are violently xenophobic. Despite their best efforts to drive back the Roots and protect their world, their attempts have been almost entirely in vain. Where beautiful green jungles in life once prospered, death, suffering, and destruction are all that now remain. Losamn is a world that resulted from the merging of the Dran and Fey worlds, which sounds as chaotic and devastating as you might imagine. According to official sources, the formerly human-like Dran have become hive-minded, which I assume in this case means wild, unthinking, and easily angered. Among them walk the Awoken Dran, those who were not altered by the merger. As a result, they are essentially outcasts in Dran society for their outspokenness against the chaos and madness. Meanwhile, the Fey have lost their purpose and are cursed with a ceaseless thirst for the life force of the Dran. To this end, Losamn is about as dreary and afflicted as it gets, and will probably remind you of scenes you may have witnessed in Bloodborne and Dark Souls. As for Nerud, this is more of a massive construct than a world per se. It was created by an ancient and technologically advanced race known as the Drazir and was supposed to be a second home for them. Unfortunately, in their efforts to discover new worlds and other forms of life, they stumbled upon a supermassive black hole within the seat of creation. After entering it despite the warnings of an astropath named Telratha, the Drazir were transformed into incorporeal beings that now haunt the vast artificial world they created. Nerud's environments and inhabitants are reminiscent of games like Half-Life, Dead Space, and Doom Eternal, and even popular movie franchises such as Aliens. If you're a fan of dystopian sci-fi worlds, Nerud might just be your ultimate dream or nightmare destination. It's not really clear what other environments or worlds will appear in Remnant 2 yet, but I have a feeling that there will be others, some of which may be new and some returning worlds from the original game. Of course, there's no confirmation yet, so don't blame me if everything I've described in this video so far constitutes most of the experience. One of the biggest features of Remnant 2 is the completely overhauled Archetype System. In the original game, no matter what loadout you started with, everything would become available to every character through play. Remnant 2 changes this by making your initial choice more meaningful. Archetypes still come with a unique armor set, 3 unique weapons and signature archetype traits, but there are now 2 new features, namely Archetype perks and Archetype skills. In order to unlock these, you'll need to gain experience and level up your chosen archetype. What this means is that players will now get to enjoy gameplay options that are entirely unique to a given archetype, which is definitely a very nice improvement in my opinion. With regards to Archetype perks, there are 5, namely Prime, Damage, Team, Utility, and Relic perks. The Prime perk provides a benefit that no other archetype or item does, while the remaining 4 are largely self-explanatory and improve the aspects for which they are named. As you gain more experience, your Archetype perks will become more formidable and useful. In contrast, Archetype skills are entirely unique to a given archetype and have a cooldown since they provide powerful buffs or benefits on the battlefield. Moreover, each archetype has 3 different archetype skills to choose from. Bear in mind that you can only slot in one archetype skill at a time, but when you're not engaged in combat, you can switch out unlocked skills immediately and at no additional cost. This is ideal for different situations that may require different approaches, so be aware of your selected archetype skill at all times. But there's even more to the new Archetype system. Eventually you'll be able to combine any 2 of your archetypes in order to create a class. In essence, one archetype will be your primary, which will give you access to that archetype's prime perk, while the other will be your secondary, meaning you won't have access to this archetype's prime perk. This might be something of an oversimplification, but that's more or less how it works. Put more plainly, Remnant 2 will have more customizability and play options thanks to this new system. So if you're looking for replayability and more dynamic combat, you should find it right here. As for archetypes themselves, what options are there in Remnant 2? Glad you asked. At present, there are 5 archetypes to choose from, namely Gunslinger, Handler, Challenger, Medic, and the recently announced Hunter, which seems to have been carried over from the original game. Gunslingers are all about dishing out damage and keeping enemies pinned down with a constant hail of bullets. Their prime perk is called Loaded and automatically reloads both the gunslinger's firearms when an archetype skill is activated. Handlers have a trusty canine companion that will help them and their comrades during combat. Considered a jack of all trades, the handler provides general benefits to the whole team. Their prime perk is called Bonded, which allows the handler's companion to revive the handler or any downed teammates. The Challenger is an armored close quarters and mid-range fighter that can be viewed as something akin to a tank. They dish out a lot of heavy damage and can take a lot of punishment from opponents. Their prime perk is called Die Hard, which allows them to revive after taking fatal damage and deliver a barrage of devastating damage to their aggressors. The Medic is arguably one of the most important archetypes, as they are able to revive fallen teammates, heal their own injuries, and keep a squad going for longer in even the toughest of battles. Their prime perk is called Regenerator, which allows them to regain a relic charge after having healed themselves or any teammates, as well as companions, in their squad enough times. Finally, the Hunter is a master of long-range combat that is able to identify and eliminate targets before they can pose any real threat to their squad. Their prime perk is called Dead to Rights, where dealing 55 base ranged weak spot damage extends the length of any active Hunter skills by 3.5 seconds. If you're really good, you can even extend the timer beyond its initial duration. Hunters can also mark enemies, making them visible even through walls and other physical barriers. In terms of weapons, you'll be pleased to know that weapon mods will still be a key feature in Remnant 2. Like the original game, there's one weapon mod slot for your handgun as well as one for your long gun. These mods provide active abilities both in and outside of combat, such as damage, healing, buffing players, and so on. Basically, you'll need to hit enemies using the selected modded weapon if you want to charge up the mod power and enjoy the benefits of the mod in question. Note that checkpoint crystals fully recharge the vast majority of mods, but since swapping mods on a weapon empties the mod completely, it's advised that you swap out mods or weapons at a given crystal checkpoint. You'll need to craft weapon mods by using materials that you obtain after defeating bosses, as well as the rewards you receive for completing certain objectives. Over and above this, Luminite crystals from elites that you defeat, as well as scrap and other material you simply find during your journey, should allow you to craft and equip different weapon mods. And as you've probably gathered by now, Remnant 2 can be played alone or in online co-op with up to 2 other players, so 3 in total. This is one feature that really made Remnant from the Ashes that much more appealing, so Remnant 2 provides much the same opportunity, albeit with some improvements in terms of team dynamics and synergy. Even with some capable players alongside you, Remnant 2 should still be suitably challenging and a game that will test your ability to think strategically and push you to use your skills and abilities to their limits. While it's not yet known exactly what different enemy types you'll face in Remnant 2, this sequel will almost certainly up the ante in terms of boss fights. If you've watched gameplay videos and trailers so far, you've probably seen the Mothermind, a massive creature that deals out a range of different attacks in an effort to catch players off guard. The only real advice I can offer is to keep moving and to work closely with your allies so that you can take care of threats more effectively and complete objectives in a more timely fashion. Remnant 2 is officially out on July 25th, 2023 and will be available on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. However, if you purchase the Ultimate Edition for $70, you can start playing 3 days earlier on July 22nd, which is pretty awesome, especially if you're a super fan. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about Remnant 2. What did you think of this video? Did we cover all the important stuff, or are there certain details we may have left out? Let us know in the comments. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more gaming, VR, and tech content. From me and the team here at Metasquad, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later!